Welcome to Android Authority on Air, the original Android Hangout show on Google+. I'm Derek Ross.
And I'm Scott Anderson.
And we are joined by Jonathan Franklin and Daniel Charlton. Thank you guys for joining us, as usual. Great to have you here.
Nice to be here.
All right, so this week on the show, we have a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about the Android ecosystem and how it's doing really well in China. We're going to go over a bunch of app updates. As we all know, Android 4.2 came out, so a bunch of apps have to get updated for compatibility. There's a whole bunch of device updates this week. Apparently, a whole bunch of Nexuses were sold and then sold out. Under Rootin' and Ramen, well, we're going to talk about some CyanogenMod drama, but it's been resolved. Unfortunately, that had to happen. We're going to go over our Nexus 4 giveaway. We're going to give a special code away, so stay tuned to later in the show. And for carrier news and OEM news later on the show, we're going to talk about how carriers are pretty much LTEing all the things right now. And last but not least, we're going to talk about patent wars and how HTC and Apple have come to some sort of agreement. Interesting. All right, so as I said, we're going to talk about the Android ecosystem real quick. So apparently in China, Android is huge. Over 90% market share. That's crazy. So pretty much China and Android are a match made in heaven. Android is kicking ass in China. And they're doing pretty well elsewhere in the world, too. Right now, Android accounts for nearly 3 out of 4 smartphone sales globally in Q3. So, I mean, we already knew that. We knew that it was huge. But, 75% of all smartphone sales in Q3 were Android.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty significant. I mean...
Well, the iPhone 5 came out in Q3,
I think when you look at markets like China where Apple had a late start, one of the biggest things that holds people back from going to Android or other platforms is, I bought so many applications on this ecosystem. I bought so many applications through iTunes. They don't have that, holding them back or anything because they're, Android had kind of caught up to iOS by the time that Apple even got a phone over there. So.
Yeah.
They have no justification whatsoever to lock themselves down to that ecosystem.
Yeah. No, I mean, 75% globally is still just huge. It's more than three times what Apple's share is. It is crushing it.
And this is something we know. We know Android's dominating. That's why this is the Android Authority Hangout show and not the iOS Authority Hangout show.
Or the Android Catch-Up show. Ketchup.
Yeah, ketchup. All right, so Scott, we said a whole bunch of apps got updated this week.
Yeah, first I kind of want to start off. Google released a lot of app updates this week, and I'm getting sick and tired of just seeing in the what's new bug fixes or improvements. I want them to elaborate just a little bit as to what they fixed, what they improved, and I'd be very curious to know that. I mean, wouldn't you guys want to see a more in-depth what's new?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we need a change log. I mean, it's been common practice for a while now, especially like for Google Plus, which was updated, which you'll get to update it and then to have the same damn change log for the past 4 updates. Like, I mean, I understand if it's a bug fix. If it is, say it's a bug fix, but still, we don't need to have major new features every single time. But it is nice to at least know what was done.
Exactly.
Definitely.
Okay, so let's start off with one that hasn't been updated for a long time, and that's Google Voice. The upgrade to Android 4.2 basically had some issues with Google Voice and had some forced closes, and basically the update for me is still running 4.1.2. Seems a lot faster. Also, it does work on my Nexus 7, which is not force closing, and it's working beautifully. This is an app I think that they need to update way more often. What was the last time they updated it?
I think when it got hollow.
It was in March.
It was during ICS, so it had ICS compatibility, and now they just updated for Jelly Bean. I think that's a ridiculous amount of time, but we'll see what they do with it.
It still has some issues they need to work out too. It's a compared to Gmail and say Messenger from Google Plus or Gtalk, it's really a very slow, laggy app. Even being a little bit faster than it used to be, that's not saying a lot because it runs pretty terribly.
Yeah, it's a very glitchy app.
Yeah, I think they just need to cache a lot more data and then be less glitchy. But whatever. Okay, so let's move on to Google Play Books, bug fixes, Google Play Magazines, minor fixes, Google Plus. Basically had the same changelog as before, as Derek was stating. I personally am having a problem with just opening up Google Plus and going into the stream and it not refreshing for me. And when I try to refresh, then it doesn't show anything. It just doesn't refresh. But when I back out of the app, then it notifies me that it's been updated.
I have that happen from time to time. It's pretty annoying.
Yeah, it is. They still have not fixed that. So, my Google. Then Nova Launcher got a 4.2 compatibility. Same with Apex Launcher. And in not a really Android app update, but kind of a Google Plus integration update, you can one-click install Android apps through Google Plus links, which is very convenient and nice.
It's more than just apps. You can do music, as well. I assume you can probably do books and magazines. I haven't tried it, but I've done it with music. Maybe you can even do it with movies too. You just take the URL. Yeah. So you go to the Play Store on the web, and you take the URL for said app, piece of music, whatever, and then you copy and paste that into a Google Plus post. And as soon as you paste it in there, it comes up with a nice, pretty little Google Play. Click here to install, click here to buy, click here to listen. Whatever link. It's really nice. I'll tell you what it's going to do. It's going to drastically increase app sales, music sales, app installs, whatever. I mean, the fact that you can easily share that and in everybody's stream they get a big fat install here button or a big fat buy here button. I think it's going to increase in sales. That's great. That's great for people that have content on the Play Store.
Yeah, and I think that they're pushing so hard for Google Plus to be a platform, and if it becomes the central platform of social on the web, if that ever happens, then it's definitely going to increase a lot of stuff. But they still haven't given us really a search function or a filter function for what kind of posts. So if you want to see all the apps that your friends or people that you circle share, that'd be kind of cool. Okay, let's move on to Box for Android. You have the ability now to download entire folders for offline viewing. That's very nice, something that was limited in that app. You also have an in-app file editor, which is nice. And then also Astro File Manager got updated. You have an image viewer, and you also have SkyDrive support. I think a lot of these lockers, data lockers, or syncers are getting SkyDrive support. I think they're realizing that a lot of people do have Windows, and it will be soon one of the big players, which is exciting.
Yeah, it's not even just Windows. Microsoft, especially with Office 2013, is making SkyDrive very essential to businesses now. So it's for, a lot of people in enterprise are going to need to have SkyDrive access.
Yeah, and speaking of, lockers in the cloud, Dropbox hit 100 million users.
Yeah.
Which that is a great milestone, and I think that all these other companies are, trying to innovate and trying to come up with better ideas in order to get more subscribers and more people that use their service, because ideally they want your data.
Yeah.
Then Google's Blogger for Android, a very big update, a lot of user experience type stuff. It is now holo themed, and just a lot of bug fixes and stuff. Gmail, search improvements. You can search by file size, and but I don't know if that's for the Android version. Is it? That's desktop.
No, that's desktop. That's the actual website.
No, but that's pretty cool.
It's all related. It's a good update to talk about.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's also in the Android app, because I saw several of the places that were reporting on it were showing off doing the search on an Android.
It might be a universal search function.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's to the Gmail backend. The app just magically, it does it now because they changed the way search functions.
Well, that's very cool. Very good to know.
Dare we say it just works.
Yes.
And then now that we're continuing on with apps, the Google Maps for iOS is rumored. It's rumored in beta testing. This will be exciting to see what they offer iOS users, if it's a fully baked type of service as opposed to kind of a half-baked thing that they did initially and then Apple got angry about, and then they decided to do their own thing. But I'm excited to see what they've been missing out on, and I'm excited for them to see what the advantages are of having a universal navigation type thing, turn by turn. Hi, Derek. Device updates.
Yeah, so apparently the HTC Evo 4G LTE, I love that device. It's a mouthful to say. Apparently it's getting jelly bean, and it's not getting the new Jelly Bean 4.2. Obviously, it's just going to rock the old 4.1 for now. But it looks like it's going to be rolling out here very shortly, if not already. And other HTC devices made some headlines this week. The HTC Droid DNA was officially unveiled on Tuesday, the same day as a bunch of other devices. In my opinion, that was bad, but other people think that was good. They're playing off of the launch, but that's besides the point. We'll get to that later. And the Droid DNA has an international cousin we found out about today. The HTC Deluxe, or the HTC DLX, which sometimes is referred to as the HTC D lowercase LX, the HTC DIX. We really don't know what it was referred to in the past. Some called it the HTC Dick, some call it the HTC Deluxe, whatever. So apparently it's finalized as the HTC Deluxe for the international crowd. Cool. A little bit about the DNA, and we'll get to this one under Rootin' and Ramen, but it looks like right now the DNA can be unlocked. At least the demo models that people are getting can be unlocked from the HTC Dev Unlocker. So that's very cool. So it might actually, get a bunch of AOSP support from developers. It's exciting. So speaking of AOSP support, let's talk about some Nexus devices that finally went on sale a couple days ago. So the Nexus 10, went on sale. Nexus 4 went on sale. And then brand spanking new Nexus 7 with HSPA Plus went on sale. And the cool thing about those three devices I just named, they're all sold out now. So...
all versions. Both,
no.
Both Nexus 4s, both Nexus 10s, and the HSPA Plus Nexus 7. So basically every new device that they launched, excepting the 32
these things had a high demand, or they didn't have a whole lot in the first run?
Or both.
Or a little bit of both.
I think a little bit of both. I think they overshot their...
So, when these devices launched,
really,
right?
Actually.
These devices launched first. First launched in Australia, and a bunch of Google Plus friends, are posting, "Hey, I bought it," and then like 35, 40 minutes into it, it was all sold out. You're like, huh? Okay, all right. See how it's gonna go. Next morning, you wake up early in the morning, and you find out the exact same thing happened in Europe. Pretty much, they went on sale, and 40 minutes later, they're all out. You start thinking, huh? Okay, this is going to turn into an all-out war here in a few hours. So the rumor was at 12 o'clock Eastern or 9 Pacific that you were going to be able to buy the Nexus, the new Nexus devices. And there wasn't any official word. It was all, speculation, rumor, everybody assumed. And then 8:30 a.m. happens, or 11:30, depending on where you're at in the country. And all of a sudden, you can start buying devices a half hour earlier than people thought you could. And man, servers were getting hammered. People weren't able to add it to cart. Their cart items disappeared. They're getting server errors. Basically, Android fans hammered the hell out of the Google Play Store. And some people got devices. Some are shipping. Some will be here maybe tomorrow and the next day. And a bunch of unlucky people got an email today saying that, your device is on back order. It could be 3 weeks before you get it. So, I guess let us know in the comments. Did you buy a Nexus device? Which one? Did it ship? Did you get an email confirmation, a tracking number? Is it on its way? Did you get told, oops, sorry, wait 3 weeks? And did you pick up a bumper? Is that part of the delay? Some people are speculating that. So let's go around here. So Dan, did you order any of the new Nexus devices?
I did. I ordered the 8GB Nexus 4. I actually was able to get the order in at about 1:30, so pretty late. but I got a purchase confirmation, and then I haven't gotten anything since then. No, no notification that my device is on back order, but also no shipping notification or any communication of any kind.
Nice, nice.
I heard that if you have a email that you got sent that said it was going to be delayed 3 to 4 weeks, are they offering free shipping on those devices if you stay in? Because you can still pull out and say that you don't want it, but if you stay in, you will get free shipping, which is kind of cool. How much was shipping on your device?
I think it was like $16.
Okay, so that's a
that's $16 that I get to save.
Yeah, that's nice.
And we're seeing in the comments here, some people are, haven't heard anything yet. They don't have a tracking number confirmation, or they don't have a "oops, we're sorry" back order email. They're in limbo. So,
I think that's one thing. That's one thing to note about the entire launch is, I know we're all Android and Google enthusiasts, but we have to be honest about the fact that Google has to get better at retail.
Yeah.
If they want to be a player in this market and put devices out, and they're not really competing with the Samsungs and the HTC models, but they've got to get better at that. They have to get better at in-person type of customer support over the phone. They have to adopt a retail mentality.
Their over-the-phone support, I had to get my Nexus 4 replaced because the first one I had, the touchscreen was non-responsive. But their over-the-phone support was actually
the Nexus 4, the Nexus 7 he's talking about.
Yeah, sorry, the Nexus 7, so months ago. But their over-the-phone support was really, really good.
Mm-hmm. The support is good. There's just not a clear way to get to it.
Right.
So, John, you think that Google needs to step up their game because they sold out within under an hour in every market they became available. They sold out with under an hour or under a half hour, maybe even here in the U.S., like some people put it, like 20, 25 minutes. So
think about how much of this could have been solved had they taken pre-orders.
Now, okay,
to anticipate the market.
Does this not happen to iPhones? Do the online sales for iPhones, the same thing happens? They sell out in 30 minutes online and shit hits the fan.
I don't have a problem with
very popular.
I don't have a problem with it selling out. That's perfectly fine. The problem is part of the reason, at least in the U.S., why it sold out so quickly is because they were having so much problems with their servers, and this is Google server failing, that people were ordering 16 and 20 devices because they kept trying to add it to their cart, and then it didn't work, and then they try it again, and then it didn't work, and then they get the confirmation and realize that they had like 16 devices on their cart.
Yeah.
And so that's why people were able to get them later in the day as well, because they kept, people would go back and cancel 15 of those and free them back up for sale.
All right, so we're getting a lot of people asking about the giveaway. Just because we're talking about the devices, we're not giving it away yet. We're going to give away the code and the details on the giveaway here a little bit later in the show. So still stay tuned. Still watch it live. Listen, if you're doing something else, that's fine. We're still going to do it. We're just talking about the Nexus devices right now.
Because a lot of stuff happened.
Yeah. So me, I succumb to, I don't know if it's so much peer pressure, tech pressure, Android geekiness pressure. I'm weak. I had decided that I was not going to get it because if those of you that watch the show that know me know that I have 2G GSM here where I live. Now at work and other surrounding areas that I frequent, there's HSPA Plus 21 at work. There's actually T-Mobile has 42, and a couple other areas, about half hour away or so have HSPA Plus. So it's not all lost. So, anyways, I did a big, we'll call it research. I did like a week or two ago, and I decided I wasn't going to get it because I have shit for service here. And then everybody I know started talking about it. And then, people that I know in Europe start talking about it. Then people I know in Australia start talking about it. And then people that I'm friends with here start telling me, yep, I'm ordering it here in an hour. Yep, I'm ordered here in a half hour. And then some Frenchie I talked to, he gave me some good advice and talked me into it, but it wasn't all him. One of my buddies that's actually on the show sometimes, Derek Moore, he told me he was getting it. And I was like, you know what? If you're getting it, no, I have to get it too. And then I decided there's such high demand for this phone that if I get it, and in 2 weeks, I mean, I'm gonna use it hard. And the Thanksgiving vacation, Thanksgiving weekend, holiday weekend, whatever is coming up, I'm gonna be using a lot of mobile data and using my phone hard, talking to family and everything. And that's gonna be a pretty big test. So if it fails for me, there's such high demand for the phone, I'm gonna be able to sell it for what I paid for it, and I'll be out a few bucks on my plan. Oh well, and at least I'll know, at least I'll know that I tried to use it and I can't, or I can't, and that's the biggest thing. If the demand wasn't so high and I wouldn't be able to sell it for what I paid for, I mean, I'm not going to try to price gouge anybody, but if someone wants to take it off my hands for me, yeah, I'll definitely do that. And I already have a few offers on the table. So yeah, I bought one. I have a tracking number. I have a confirmation. For those of you that are curious, I ordered it about 11:33 a.m. I got my order in before the mad server crash or rush, and I have a tracking number. It says it left Kentucky this afternoon. We'll be here tomorrow. Fingers crossed, confidence high. I'm betting I'll be screwed and won't get it till Monday, though. That's just me. So let's talk about a couple other devices here. We've been spending a lot of time on the new Nexus's launch. So other big devices. Kindle Fire 8.9 is now shipping. The LTE version is going to be starting next week. Remember, the LTE version comes with AT&T's network, and they give you a limited amount of data usage for free. It's actually not bad, in my opinion.
Per year, though.
Yeah, it's per year, but in a bind, it's not that bad. T-Mobile's Galaxy S3 is getting Jelly Bean. You can get it through keys or the over-the-air update. And Google TV, not so much a phone, but it runs Android, so we'll talk about that. Google TV received a whole bunch of updates this week. Let's talk about some apps. There was 2 major app updates. The first one is YouTube. Well, and that's fun. So if you have a Google TV and you have an Android tablet or Android phone, you can now send or fling queue content, movies, TV shows, whatever, funny stuff, music videos, whatever you want. Of the millions and millions and millions of videos on YouTube, you can queue whatever you want to on your TV now. Now you can do some of this before through other methods, or you could control it with a YouTube remote, but it wasn't as fun. It wasn't as intuitive as it is now. So, like I said, you can do this from your Android device, and the nice thing about it is you can do it from multiple Android devices. So if you have friends over, family over, whatever, kids in the house, whatever, wife, whoever, all of you can add content to watch on the TV, and everybody can control what's currently playing. So if a video is playing that you played and somebody decides, I don't want to watch this, they can pause it, skip it, choose to watch something else. So it's still fun that everybody can control it. I know I was testing it, and I'm sitting there queuing up a whole bunch of videos, and I wondered why the video I was watching Lindsay Sterling, one of her dubstep violin videos, and it kept stopping. I was like, what the hell? Why did it stop? So I hit play, and it plays for like 5 more seconds, and it stopped. I was like, man, this sucks. This is buggy. And then I poked my head around the corner, and my wife's sitting there laughing, like she's sitting there on her phone, like pausing the video. But what was neat is on her phone, since she had added things to the queue, on her phone it popped up whatever was playing. So she got like a notification saying, "Hey, this is playing. Do you want to stop it? Control the volume, skip it, add your own things." And also on the YouTube app, you can go to a TV queue section where you can see every single video that is in the queue, so you can add as many as you want to. I don't know if there's a limit. I've added dozens. Now, it was kind of hard for me to figure out that you can actually remove those. At first, I didn't think you could. I noticed on the picture of the video thumbnail, there's a little blue down arrow, and I thought, hey, look, that's not supposed to be there, and I clicked on it, and it didn't do anything. But if you click right, you really have to be very, very precise. But if you click on that little down arrow, it actually gives you the options to then remove the videos that are playing. So if you decide you don't want them in the queue anymore, you can remove them. But it's I think that needs to be maybe made a little bit bigger. Most people probably will have problems with that until they try it out a few times, or even maybe not even know it's there. So. Have you guys tried that at all? Have you tried the YouTube flinging, YouTube sending, queuing at all on your devices?
I've tried it, just me personally. If another person with a different Google account comes in and it's in no way associated with my Google TV, does that automatically get queued in? They can control,
as long as you're on the same Wi-Fi network.
Oh, okay.
Yes, you just have to
Cool.
you just have to be on the same Wi-Fi network. So if you have some YouTube content that you want to add back and forth, you have, like I said, party, or you want to have mean comedy night, I don't know, but yeah, you can do it. I think this functionality will be great. I mean, if you guys remember, this is kind of like the Nexus Q. Remember, the Nexus Q could do similar functionality. So when you can do this to music that you have through Google Music, or when you can do this through TV and movie app, chances are this is the first of many apps that will be able to do that. That's just a guess. But I would assume that once they realize that this takes off, the Google TV will add other functionality in the future. I mean, it's great. I think it's fun. It really is. So another Google TV update is the TV and Movies app, where you could search for content, that live shows, movies, and TV shows, and then you went in and you customized it by your ratings and everything. That app has been renamed. It's no longer a search app. It's called Primetime. And for me, on my Vizio, I was not told to update the app. I went to the Play Store and saw there was an app update and updated it. I know other people had it pop up saying there was an update, and other people didn't. So just luck of the draw, I guess. Whenever it was pushed to your device and whenever you saw it. So go ahead and update that. It's called Primetime now. It's there's a little bit of UI changes, and it's a little more intuitive. And I said the search features are a little bit better. Overall, it's a great update, and some of the features I haven't actually used yet, but you're going to be able to see content related to what you're currently watching. So you're watching a certain movie or a certain TV show, a certain sporting event, it'll come up with related content that's similar to that, or other things that are showing that are related to it. So it's a heck of an update. And
does that trickle down to the review? I know you'd said that the YouTube updates do. Does the Primetime change as well?
I'm a bad Google TV ambassador. I do not know the answer to that question. I don't know if the review gets that. I'm going to say yes. Yes, I'm going to say it does because yes, it does. I'm not too sure that it's going to get the next thing we're going to talk about, though.
Yeah.
The next thing is a Platform 3. The Google TV version 3, it's right now rolling out to the LG TV, and that's a heck of an update. The biggest thing about it is voice search. So I believe we talked about this a few weeks ago on a show when the video was first leaked, and we'll talk about it again just real quick. So voice search, we all know what it is. We use it, Google search, voice search. Android has had it forever, but now it ties into the knowledge graph, and this is coming to Google TV. So for example, you say into your microphone that is built into your remote, or you talk into the Android app, and you say, show me movies with Christopher Nolan and Christian Bale. And it comes up with The Dark Knight. It's the things you can do with Google Now, like if you said that into Google Now right now. So yeah, it's very cool. And you don't know the name of a TV show, you don't know the name of a movie, you just speak about it, talk about it, and the voice search, since it's built into the knowledge graph, it will find it or try to find it. And you can say, channel, I want to watch Fox. You don't have to say, oh man, what's Fox? Is it 53, 27? I don't know any of my channel numbers anymore. They changed it around a few years ago, and I don't know what they are. So yeah. Yeah. So you don't have to know that anymore. You can just tell your TV what you want, and it's going to do it. Very cool. Like I said, it's rolling out to the LG TV right now. Other devices are. Other devices will get it soon, no ETAs, maybe by the end of the year. Fingers crossed, confidence high. And if you have questions about the microphone, current devices, I think that the Sony has a mic built in. Other things like the Vizio Co-Star and Review, they don't have a mic built in. But future Google TV devices will come with mics built in to their remote. And like I said, the Android app should be able to take that off your shoulders for you. It should be able to do it, so you don't have to buy a new remote or buy a new device.
Yeah, so they also are beating Apple to the punch on Siri integration for Apple TV. And
Do
getting
you,
you people of voice TV right now.
do you remember? I don't know how long ago, so I'm just going to say a long time ago, maybe a year ago, maybe 6 months ago. There was a patent that was found by Google where the diagram said you're going to talk into a device to be able to control everything, and everyone's like, "Wow, this is Android at home. This is Android at home." Well, I'm betting it's not. I'm betting it's actually you're talking into your device and controlling your TV. Or it said you were going to control an entertainment device. I bet that was a Google TV patent all along. I mean, it sounds exactly like it. All right, so let's move on off of devices. Though said, let us know if you're getting the Nexuses, as I said, and if you had success or you're raging or you had fails. So let's talk about rooting and ramen real quick. So I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on this because I don't want to beat a dead horse or spread drama or rumors, but it's a big, signage and mod is huge in the Android world, so this affects everybody. So that is into rooting and ramming basically. So it's worth mentioning. So the signageandmod.com domain was basically held for ransom. You can go to their website and read all the details. We don't need to get into all that, but a few things that they found out was happening was Steve Cyanogen himself was getting impersonated maybe to vendors or and so forth, and OEMs saying, hey, I'm Steve Kondik, give me this, give me that. So you can go there and read all the details, but the team has now regained control of all their social media accounts. They're getting control of signageandmod.com. In the meantime, they transitioned to signageandmod.org, and and I actually noticed that yesterday, maybe the day before the announcement actually came out. I went to signageandmod.com and I saw it redirected to .org, and I said, "What the hell? When did that happen?" So I started looking around trying to find when that happened. So the next day the blog post went up. I was actually confused when I first saw that, but apparently the situation's been resolved amicably. So you can find all the information, all the posts, and say they're all over Google Plus, all over signageandmod.com or .org. Said go there and read it. We don't need to spread the drama, but if you want to know a little bit more about it, so the TLDR version is something bad happened. Now it's all good. So the Nexus 4, Nexus S, the Motorola Zoom, the HSPA Plus, Nexus 7 are all left out of AOSP for now.
Yeah. So it looks like the Nexus S and the Zoom aren't going to get 4.2.
Yeah. They reached official end of life.
Right. The Nexus 7, the HSPA Plus Nexus 7, and the brand new Nexus 4 are still not in though.
And so, Dan, do you remember?
I think those it's a still not and not a never going to be.
Dan, do you remember about? It was last February. You and I were talking to JBQ, actually, mainly you, because you know a lot more about this than I do, with Qualcomm about their licensing and the Nexus 4. The Nexus 1, and JBQ came back and said that for the past 4 years, Qualcomm's been the same way. I mean, to get the rails, to get radio code, everything from them was a huge pain in the ass. So it's interesting that knowing that we have the same problem 4 years later.
Yeah, no, I mean, all indications are that Qualcomm is the hold-up on that with some kind of licensing negotiation issues. I know that it's certainly Google's goal to get them into AOSP. My suspicion is that it will get there. It's just going to take it a little bit of time. And
the Nexus 7, that's a radio licensing, GSM radio licensing, so it doesn't have a Qualcomm processor. So
how many?
It might have a Qualcomm radio.
Okay.
It could be, but there really aren't that many options anymore for open hardware.
No.
With Texas Instruments, and they were probably the most open out of all of them, but Qualcomm, and then what's your alternative? You've got
Samsung's usually pretty good about it.
Samsung's a little bit better. Intel.
Samsung's really the only user of Samsung's products, so that's kind of irrelevant.
Yeah, you've got Intel, which that's off the table right now, and that you don't have a lot of really open hardware options, even when you're. So and almost every device in the world right now has a Qualcomm radio, so you're going to have to fight them regardless. So you might as well just take the processor.
Yeah, maybe NVIDIA's Tegra Gray processor, which is supposed to have its own integrated radio built by Sarah. Maybe that'll change the game, but they they haven't shown really the capacity to match Qualcomm's radio making ability.
All right, so if you're into rooting and ROMing, you're going to want to know about when's my device getting Android 4.2 as a custom ROM. So those of us that are rocking the Verizon Galaxy Nexus for at least another day or two, another 3 weeks, or for the next year, you're going to want to know, when am I getting 4.2? Well, yeah, Verizon's not going to give it to you, you know. so you rely on custom ROMs. So right now there's three that I know of, three custom ROMs out there for the Verizon Galaxy Nexus on AOSP 4.2. There's Muzzy's ROM. You might remember him. He was one of the first devs to get Jelly Bean 4.1 out for the Toro. Last summer. So, and he's added again. 4.2 is fully working. Two little, fully working in quotes. I say. I mean, all the hardware works. For whatever reason, the current build he has the old leaked keyboard that has the blue letters with the white text. So if you want the most up-to-date keyboard, you got to replace the keyboard. No big deal. It takes a second to flash a new keyboard or delete the APK and put a new one in, reboot. No big deal. And I guess people were having forced closes with Daydream if they put it on the clock, and I guess that has to deal with the AOSP desk clock versus the actual proprietary Google version desk clock. I don't know if that can be resolved or not, but the easy fix for that is to delete the desk clock APK, the AOSP one, and put in the proprietary Google one, the desk clock Google.apk. You put that in there, and then it fixes that problem. So, two minor little inconveniences that can be fixed. I don't know if the other two have those issues or not. I actually haven't ran them. I've seen people talking about MROM and another one called Pure Jelly. I don't know anything about those two. I only went with a dev that I was familiar with, and it runs great. I don't have any problems. Location services and Google Now works great. All the apps run great. It's not slow. Battery life's good. I'm liking it. For however long I need to play with it, or indefinitely if GSM signal just doesn't love me and I have to give my Nexus 4 back. So yeah, it's fine. I'm happy with it for now. Eventually, if I have to stay with it, I'm probably going to run Bugless Beast because, you know what? I don't know. I like Bugless Beast. It's basically stock. Moving on to other 4.2 ROMs, and then we'll get to the Nexus 4 giveaway part 2. The Acer Iconia A500, my old Android tablet. It was the first tablet to get Jelly Bean besides the Nexus 7. And the same developer, Random Blaine, he's back. He's at it again, and he has a almost nearly working 4.2 build. Right now, as of this morning, he may have fixed it since then, but as of this morning, there was no Bluetooth, no camera, no audio. And that's basically, I think, actually, that's how it started out. That's how it started out when 4.1 came out. I'm sure he'll get that fixed real soon.
Big list of things that aren't working. I mean, those are all sort of expected to not be working with a first run build.
He'll get that working in a couple days, and you know what? I can't wait to put it on. My son actually uses that. That's his tablet, so I can't wait to flash my son's tablet for him. It's kind of like a geek dad, achievement unlocked for me. And last but not least, for rooting and ROM, and then I can finally stop talking because I've been talking a lot. Twerp. It didn't support, as well as Clockwork modding, it didn't support the new multiple user accounts with Android 4.2. What it did is Android 4.2 moves the SD card into /SD cards, /0 for the first user, /1 for the second, and so forth and so forth. So since all your data is now located in SD card /0, it had some issues, didn't work properly. You had to poke around a little bit more to get stuff to work. So not a big deal, actually. I mean, I flashed ROMs without it. You don't need it, but the compatibility issues have been resolved, and 2.3.2 is now available. I don't use Clockwork Mod. I don't know if Clockwork Mod has been updated. Kosh is usually pretty good with that. I would assume it is, or will be extremely soon.
I know he posted on Google Plus that he was looking for a way to fix it just through an app update.
Through ROM Manager? Yeah, I saw him post a bit through ROM Manager, yeah.
New recovery build. I don't know if they were able to come up with a way to do that, though. I suspect not, just because I know what's involved with that kind of a change.
All right, so let's get to the part you're all waiting for. Scott Anderson's going to talk, and he's going to tell us how he sleeps on a bed that is covered in junk.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so Nexus 4 giveaway code part 2. How can I participate? You're probably asking yourself. Well, we have a giveaway page. It's actually the top article on AndroidAuthority.com. And basically, you use the widget to participate. You have multiple chances to win, multiple accounts to sign in with to give you multiple points towards or chances at winning. And then also, the contest ends in 3 days. And this is an international giveaway, by the way, for all of you U.S. people thinking you're just going to be available. No, anybody can win it. And the secret code that you can put in is Nexus backdoor.
Back order. Order.
We use
That is
Google Docs.
all one word. Nexus back order.
It's not. If you type in Nexus backdoor, you will not get another entry.
Yes, it will not help you win the prize.
Oh, wow. So
You have to 14 entry points,
Nexus back order.
and there are some 25,000 right now. Nexus back order will actually get you 2 points.
It'll get you 2 points, and yeah, it's on the first article. So if you guys want to go there and check it out, ends in 3 days. Okay, so let's move on to some carrier and OEM news. Sprint is letting up LTE networks in 9 more cities. Basically, that brings up the total to 41 cities and 125 more to come. And then Verizon is starting to preload the Amazon App Store and ecosystem on Android devices, starting with the Droid DNA, which, do you guys like this? Is it another form of bloatware?
Yes.
It's bloat. It's not as atrocious as some of the stuff they put on there in the past, but
That's a good
yeah,
point.
they're not putting the Vcast App Store on there, and they're putting another App
That's
Store
very
on
true.
there.
yeah, we lost Vcast and we gained 5 more apps to replace that one Vcast app. So, I mean, I guess I don't know if we're better off or not because it's preloaded. It's still preloaded with a ton of apps.
If Verizon does that on like all of their upcoming devices, I see that they're gonna get a lot of money and a lot of.
Yeah, I'm sure Verizon, or I'm sure Amazon is paying them a
Yeah.
boatload for this.
Yeah, 'cause
Verizon's not hurting for money now either. So I mean, they're just
That's true too.
yeah.
But Verizon does love to make more money.
yeah. I don't know that the ability in Ice Cream Sandwich to disable these kind of applications isn't motivating them. Like, well, if the user can figure this stuff out, and then we can just preload some more stuff on there, and they won't care.
Yeah, I still wish you could actually delete them.
I do too.
At least Sprint has the decency to make their bloatware removable.
Yeah,
One comment I want to make about my Nexus backdoor thing. I saw that somebody in the comments hashtagged it. Do not trend that. There's no relevance to trend that.
Well, okay, so Nexus back order is all one word. There's no space. You don't have to worry about spaces. Nexus back order, all one word, no spaces.
I'm actually going to ask Darcy how many entries for Nexus backdoor there are.
And you know what? If you want to create a meme with Scott Anderson and Nexus backdoor, I will share it.
Feel free.
I'm okay with that, and actually, I encourage you to share it, and I encourage you to do it. Scott Anderson, Nexus backdoor.
Okay, let's move on to other carrier news. So Verizon adds LTE to 20 new areas. It now covers 80% of the population, and not Derek, and probably never Derek.
Hey, now, but in 6 months, when they said they're going to cover 6 months, Verizon's going to completely replace their LTE network or their 3G network with LTE. They said, so in 6 months, I will have LTE at my house, and I won't be able to use it if I'm on the Nexus 4.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you'll be
so
on
it's
your
just about,
Wi-Fi.
you'll be on 2G GSM
But
data.
I'll be rocking 2G GSM, so I'll be all right.
When they light your LTE up is going to be the day that you leave them. Actually, the day after you leave them,
That would be so awesome.
when they flip the switch on your
and tell them
area.
I'm not renewing my contract. They're like, oh, Huntington, PA. Oh, we're rolling that out with LTE tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah, it's just going to
Okay.
wait on you.
And AT&T is adding LTE in 8 new cities. I know that Minneapolis, where I am, got it, and I was at work today looking around, in the AT&T tower, looking around, and they were like, "Wow, it's fast," because nobody's. I mean, there are a significant amount of GS3s that are on it, and I know at where I work, I know 15 people that have them. So a lot of people love that phone. It's crazy. But yeah, they were getting great speeds, anywhere from 15 to 30 megabits down. So pretty fast.
For a big city, yeah, that's
Yeah.
really good for a bigger city.
Yeah. And then Qualcomm is now worth more than Intel. And that's big news.
Yeah. Yeah, Chipzilla just got surpassed by Qualcomm.
That is cool.
Yeah.
It's good news to see. I think Intel has more of a fight in them than it's perceived to be, but
Oh, I don't think they're going down without a fight.
mm-mm.
Oh, no, they're not.
Qualcomm shooting past them. I mean, Qualcomm is really riding on the back of its radio more than its processors. It's not.
I think Intel has a legitimate mobile strategy that we kind of underestimate at times, but I think they have a chance.
I think they have a chance. They certainly have more of a chance than ARM does getting into mobile, or not ARM. Than,
Getting into
AMD.
servers, yeah.
AMD, God.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm excited to see what they do to try to leapfrog, if they can. It'd be kind of cool if they did. I'm up for innovation.
I think that they got a good roadmap, so we'll find out.
And then in more exciting news, Apple stock continues to slide, down 25% from all-time high. Basically, it started going down right before. It was actually
right after the iPhone went on sale.
Well, it was when the iPhone 5 got released, it started to tank. Yeah, it's typical Apple.
Yeah, they announced it, and the stock peaked, and then it actually came out, and it's been downhill ever since.
Yeah,
Yes.
typically it peaks and then goes down, but then comes back up. But in this case, it's been a steady roller coaster down. And
25%. That's like $166 billion in 2 months.
Well, a lot of tech stocks are down. Google's down over $50 from what it was a month ago. So
Sure,
it's not just Apple.
not $110 though.
yeah, that's true. And then another. What was I going to say about the Apple? Oh yeah, the Apple's given dividends of $2.5 billion. That's kind of interesting because that's what they got from Samsung. So I think that was kind of funny.
Yeah, I mean, typically they don't give a lot of dividends, so I'm sure that's.
They've done it like 3 times in the past 17 years.
Yeah.
And I think the timing for this one, was just, hey, Samsung, we're giving away the money that you gave us, which is kind of funny. But yeah. Okay, let's move on to Dan's favorite section.
Patent wars, naturally. So yeah, HTC and Apple have come to a cross-licensing agreement. They've laid down their arms against one another. The details on it are still all very much a mystery. Different analysts are expecting it to be between $6 and $8 a device. That's largely based on what HTC has said its annual cost is going to be for this agreement. So $6 to $8 a device sounds like a lot, but in the scheme of things, it is not. Apple has been running around telling people that they are owed $30 to $40 per device. So 6 to 8 is a lot less than 30 to 40 per device. And 6 to 8 is actually very close to 2.25% of the profit per device. The same number that Google's Motorola has been asking for their patents. So it seems like it's definitely good that they've resolved their problems, but it's also looking like Apple capitulated for a lot less than what they've been asking everybody else for. The flip side to that is Samsung is apparently completely unwilling to settle with Apple. on similar terms. I can't blame them though, because all indications thus far have been that Apple's refusing to budge from the $30 to $40 mark for Samsung. So why they did for HTC, I don't know.
Samsung, HTC is hurting.
Because
Yes.
they're trying to kill the weak link here, you know.
Yeah, they're giving a better deal to the weak link because they're hurting, and they know that they will take what they can get in order to have some security. And it's kind of sad, but that's what they're doing, and they're preying on the weak. They are finding the wounded, and they're tackling them.
I would love to see HTC see a rebound based upon the fact that they can pretty much run rampant now with innovation and not have to worry about
Exactly.
Not that Microsoft doesn't do the same, but Microsoft generally just settles for licensing. It's nice. It's almost worth $6 to $8 a device just to shut Apple up.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
not have to worry about import bans and not have to worry about stepping on small, really insignificant patents and have your phone device launch completely held back for something that small.
Yep. Yeah, and it is a 10-year license agreement, and it is ongoing. So any new patent that either company adds in the next 10 years is covered.
Yeah.
So they don't have to worry about Apple inventing something tomorrow or getting some ridiculous patent granted to them next week on something that they obviously didn't invent just now. HTC doesn't have to worry about it. And so for the price that they're paying for this, $6 to $8 device, it's probably worth it just to not have to deal with it.
Yeah. They're probably paying, there's no telling what they're paying
Probably
just
paying
for
more than
legal
$6
fees.
a device to fight.
Yeah, just the legal fees are ridiculous.
Yeah. So Samsung, while they're unwilling to settle, they also, we had heard, jacked up the prices of their processors that they build for Apple. There's a lot of speculation that this was a retaliatory move by Samsung. Their executives come out and denied that. They said more or less this was a completely scheduled hike. Like, yes, we did hike the prices, but that's what the contract said we were going to do, and we did it exactly when the contract said we were going to do it. So Apple never comments on their agreements with hardware vendors, so we aren't going to get a whole lot more detail out of this. The fact that Apple hasn't been complaining loudly about it suggests that this probably was just what the contract said.
It's interesting that it's a 20% hike. You know, it's just it's a big hike. I mean, it's a big increase.
Yeah, I mean, I would suspect that part of that was factored in because Samsung spent a lot of money building a brand new fabrication facility, more or less for Apple.
So the cost of materials, the raw materials to get this. I mean, I would love to think that they were secretly being retaliatory toward Apple just based upon, but I just don't think that's the case. I mean, the cost to produce anything related to electronic components in general, silicon and metal prices have just gone through the roof.
Absolutely.
I mean, you have to, and that's been over the last decade. They've just been gradually increasing. So you can't expect them to keep it at the same price. It's not a type of industry that's getting that much more efficient with its costs over years to be able to compensate for that.
Plus, these devices keep getting better, and these chips keep getting better, and as they get better, part of that is getting a lot more complex and a lot more difficult to physically build.
You got quad core chips,
right?
I mean, it's a smaller processor, still producing more metal. Though.
Smaller and smaller, it's expensive to make them. So I'm not at all surprised by the idea that it was a contractual increase. But in other Schadenfreude news, the UK judges that had ordered Apple to put up their apology and then ordered Apple to take down and replace their apology issued a basically pitch slap to Apple. They're making Apple cover all of Samsung's expenses, going a little bit above and beyond. It just typically when you lose a court case, you're going to have to cover your opponent's legal fees. This is going a little bit above and beyond that, covering things that aren't normally included with legal fees. Basically, all of their expenses, all of the bills for all of the Samsung witnesses and everybody that had to come testify, all of their reimbursement fees and hotel fees, the whole nine. So Apple's gonna, I mean, it's certainly not $1 billion, court decision, but in what should have been a, post an apology, wash your hands, walk away, and, live to fight another day, this has turned into an actual drain on Apple resources.
So speaking of Apple, we have a question in the comments. about some Apple news here, and we have a few minutes here to wrap up. So let's reflect on the recent rumored news that the iPhone 5 is going to begin. The iPhone 5S is going to begin production very shortly, if not already. Now, remember, the iPhone 5 just came out in September. So what do you think of that?
I think
they
that
should.
Foxconn is struggling to produce enough iPhone 5s right now that they can't possibly start building the iPhone 5S in quantity. It's time to wake up, Derek.
I don't know why I said that.
What is it indicating for Apple that they would be that desperate that they feel like they need to adopt a 6-month release cycle?
It's the onslaught of Android devices that come out every other week, and they're realizing that once a year is not cutting it, and they cannot, unless they innovate their platform a lot, they can't, leapfrog or stay on top with hardware for more than a couple of weeks, if that.
Well,
So-
the devices that they put out have consistently been behind, dating all the way back to the iPhone 4 versus Evo 4G hilarious YouTube video, right?
Yeah.
Like, their hardware has been behind for a while.
About the only thing advantage-wise that they've had over the years has been like the graphics processors.
Yep.
Everything else they've been pretty much, and sometimes rightfully so, like with LTE. And but on the other hand, it's not like it doesn't cost nearly as much to even make an iPhone 5 because it doesn't have an NFC radio. It doesn't have a lot of other hardware features.
No, they're making like a ridiculous profit margin.
Yeah, it's $180 to produce that. You're selling it for $750 to $800. I mean, that's beyond profitable and approaching ludicrous. And
Yes.
if they were to speed up the release cycles, it's telling you that they're getting desperate. I don't think that they'll necessarily put out a 5S that soon, but if they did, they really don't have a lot of time to improve on software by that point. It's kind of like you look at the iPad 3 versus 4, and they could do some minor hardware upgrades, but the people are already pissed off at that.
Maybe they're going to add NFC.
I don't think they have a way to really monetize it efficiently, though.
They I think, have invested too much into the passbook and their technology, and you hear all these different types of airlines that are investing.
Don't you remember the patents from a few weeks back that Apple had for NFC, where they were going to use a mobile device on was it in airports or subways?
You and I very well know, just because you have a patent does not mean that you're going to use it. It means that you are protected and you have some. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Picks up a lot of patents.
It's a hit or miss. They could or could not use it.
Apple picks up a lot of patents in a very troll-like manner, where it has absolutely no intention of ever using them for something like that it's going to build. It just has.
Well, back in the day, HP was patenting something every day. I understand that. I mean, that's
Apple's patenting stuff for things along the lines of Google Glasses, and
Yep.
I don't see where they have any kind of ecosystem to produce anything worth a shit.
They're selling now the Oakley goggles that have the head-up display that's powered by Android right there on the Apple website.
That is quite funny. That is hilarious. They're selling Android on the Apple website. But Shane also makes a good point on Google Plus that the iPad Mini is kind of a cry for we need to compete everywhere, but we can't because there's such a big diversity with devices.
And we covered that a few weeks ago on the show, how it was
basically this whole
device.
They're this year from them, the iPhone 5 and the iPad Mini was their first lineup of reactionary devices.
I agree with that.
In a nutshell.
Okay, so for all of you guys listening and watching right now, if you guys want to join in the conversation, if you're watching us on YouTube, you can join in the conversation on Google+. We also do see the comments from YouTube, but the majority of the conversation goes on Google+, just Android Authority, Google+ page, comments, whatever, on there. You can also find us on SoundCloud if you just want to listen to us. We're also on Podbean, iTunes, Stitcher Radio, And if you want to go to the Android Authority webpage, androidauthority.com, in the bottom right, there's an on-air section. That on-air section, every episode will post a wrap-up of the show. And also, we do have a live widget for SoundCloud on the right-hand side that you can listen to us directly from there.
And lastly, if you missed it earlier, Scott, what is the code again for the Nexus 4 giveaway?
Nexus back order.
Nexus back order, all one word, no space.
Capitalization does not matter.
Yeah. Caps it does not matter. Go and enter that into the raffle copter, and good luck.
Everybody have a good night.
Good night.
Take it easy.